Bad time to be coughing on camera. Hello friends, how you doing? Welcome to a very peculiar update, I guess, but one that a lot of content creators, I guess, are doing these days. I'm putting my hands in my pockets so I don't touch my face on camera, and I'm hoping I don't cough, even though I just did take a big swig of Diet Coke and it went down the wrong way. I hope you're doing alright. These are strange, peculiar times we live in, and we're not really sure what direction it's going to go in. I think everyone's hoping for the best, and you know, fingers crossed, doing their due diligence to wash their hands and isolate themselves as much as possible. That's what's happening to us here at Noclip, here at the studio. So I wanted to give an update on what we're up to at the moment, what you can expect from Noclip, and I guess here on my personal channel as well. What's been affected by this whole thing, and hopefully what isn't affected by it, just so everyone kind of, you know, I guess just so I have a place to point people when they're asking questions. So I have my notes here. There's a bit of stuff to cover, and I'll try and get through it as studiously as possible. There will still be stuff coming from Noclip. We filmed quite a lot in respect to other content creators who are in the same position as us, who have to go out into the world to film stuff generally and then bring it back. We were actually planning on staying here and editing for a number of months anyway. In fact, that's what we've been doing for the past 6 weeks, so we actually have a lot of stuff in the kitty as well. That being said, we have decided to isolate as much as possible. So Jeremy and myself usually work out of the studio. I wouldn't be here except that Jeremy was basically taking 2 or 3 weeks off anyway at the end of March, start of April. This was going to be our last week. We were recording 1 or 2 things for GDC. That stuff got cancelled when the Game Developers Conference got cancelled. And then we had some other interviews, and we decided to people who were still coming into town. And last week we let them know, look, we don't think that's going to be possible, and we're going to isolate the studio. So Jeremy's not coming in here anymore. I'm going to work out of here a couple of days a week, probably mostly just for my mental health, and just so me and my wife can sort of have our own space a little bit as well while we're minding our kid. And we obviously have problems with childcare now, so I'm going to have to be at home a bunch more. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work, whether or not I'll do half days at home or take a couple of days off a week or something. I think the whole thing is kind of just moving still, so we'll figure that out. But that's all just to say that I'll be in and out of the studio a bit. No one else seems to be in our building. We have our own entrance here, but most of the other businesses in this building are wellness and health based, so they've basically all shut up shop, and we're just kind of stuck in this little room here anyway. So it's as things go, it's probably one of the safest places to be if you're trying to avoid people and avoid illness. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at in terms of the studio. In terms of projects, let me kind of go through them one by one, because each one has had a different problem associated with it, except for the first one, which kind of has no problems. So the project we were working on, which was going to come out most soon, was our project on the Outer Worlds. We went to Obsidian about a month ago, maybe a bit longer now, and filmed a documentary all about that game. That was originally supposed to be one doc that was going to come out at the end of this month. We actually decided to split it up into a series because there was too much meat on the bone. We were cutting quite a lot of cool stuff to try and get it into a manageable runtime. So we're going to be releasing at least 3 videos from that, maybe more. We'll see. And this whole thing is kind of also, you know, looking down the barrel of this and thinking, oh, it might be like this for a while. Like, it could be like this for months, maybe the majority of the year. We don't know what'll happen, especially with the work we do, where we're strangers flying to a different place and then, you know, hanging around with people and leaving. I can imagine a world in which, you know, that's not really possible for a while. So we might try and squeeze a bit more out of these stones, and we also have a lot of stones in the past that we're going to go back to and re-edit some cool stuff from as well. But that is all to say that the Outer Worlds docs, the series, will be coming in the next few weeks. The first one I think is going to be about characters. I'm still trying to figure out which one sort of works best, but that one's kind of all right. The Creative Assembly documentary was meant to come out in mid-April. Just looking at the fact that, like, Jeremy's not here and I'm going to be doing less hours than before, I have a feeling that all of these projects are just going to have a little bit longer of a production pipeline or in terms of time than we originally planned. So looking at things reasonably, I think Creative Assembly, if it does come out in April, it will be late. It's much more likely to be probably looking at May. And then Arcane is a big question mark, because the Arcane doc was really, really big. It's 3 documentaries. One's on the history of Arcane, one's on the design of Prey, one's on the design of Dishonored. But the problem we have with that one is that there's one missing interview we were meant to do there with Rafael Colatonio, who has since left Arcane. He wasn't in town the week we were in Austin, unfortunately, so we were going to film it here during GDC. GDC got postponed, so then we had a local shooter, one of our patrons actually, an awesome shooter, a dude who lives in Austin, was going to help us out to film that. We're still hoping that we can make that happen. I'm not sure now with the more stringent isolation stuff that's going on, whether or not we can do that interview. Maybe there's a world in which we just do it over Skype. I'd hate to do it because it won't look as good, but that's kind of the world we live in right now. So Arcane has got a question mark over it in terms of when it'll come out, but it will come out, and it's got some of the best stuff we've ever filmed. So I'm excited to get an answer to you on that one. Outside of that, then, the sort of broader Noclip stuff is a little bit all over the place. The podcast that we record here is kind of impossible to do now. We can't bring in people. We already had to cancel loads of interviews over the past few weeks because of this. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that, whether or not I'll start doing it over Skype, whether or not I'll put my energy elsewhere. Kind of a question mark on that. I have some ideas for other stuff that I'd like to do while I'm doing the docs, stuff that I can do solo, like my old show Random Encounter I did on GameSpot, like bringing something back like that, or doing some long form Let's Play stuff, like going back and I want to play Black Mesa again now that all the Zen stuff's done. Something like that. I'm not sure what, but I want to do something that's like fun, that's like that the community can rally around, that people can look forward to. Kind of I don't know. We're probably going to enter. It's probably going to be tough for people for a little while here. So our docs will still keep coming, but I think almost for me as well, I'd kind of like to do something that's a bit more easy to produce on the regular, that I can kind of put out into the world and get feedback from folks and hopefully have a good time. I don't know what it'll be. I'm thinking super self-indulgent, like maybe playing through Breath of the Wild again or something like that. I'll see. If you have any ideas, suggestions, put them in the comments and let me know. But yeah, so that stuff that'll all live on this Danny O'Dwyer channel. We had ideas about doing a big funding push next month and also rebranding this channel and doing Noclip plays, we were going to call them. All of that stuff is going to sort of be put on the kibosh, as we say back home, on hold, just to because it's so hard now to plan ahead really what's going to happen with anything. So the one thing we do know is that we have absolutely loads of doc stuff to work on over the next few weeks and months. So Jeremy is going to be isolating for the next month. Everyone else we contract work with, it shouldn't necessarily affect them. Frank is recording gameplay loads at the moment. Megan, I'm sure, will still be down for doing closed captions as before. I think if this is still a thing in a month's time, once Jeremy gets back from his PTO, I guess. I'm not sure if it's PTO anymore. I think he's making stew at the moment and freezing a bunch of it, or chili. He makes really good chili. I think once that's done, we'll figure out like a work from home situation. His machine is still here, but he lives like just down the road from here, so I'm sure he can come in and get it. In the meantime, I'm going to be using the studio for a couple of things. In fact, this week, weirdly enough, I'm going to be producing videos on Doom Eternal, which I've been playing over the week. There'll be a Noclip podcast this week with Drew Scanlon, and that'll be the last one probably that we'll have filmed here, at least for a little while, or for a long while. We also are doing a bunch of stuff on Shift F1. There's a new YouTube channel for that. So if you like Formula 1 racing, go to youtube.com/shiftf1. All the Patreon-only videos we did last year are now public to watch, and every video we make from now on is going to be public. They're like early access for patrons of Shift F1, but they'll all be there'll be loads of stuff coming off that channel. We actually recorded about 5 or 6 videos here last week, so we already have a bunch of stuff banked for the next couple of months. And then the other big update to talk about is Hades. I'm talking to Supergiant about what we're going to do. Obviously, you know, everyone's kind of, you know, the work situation at their studio is probably complex at this stage. The situation for us in terms of sending people anywhere to film stuff is complex at this stage. We're 4 episodes into our 6-episode run, but everything's kind of weird at the moment, so we're going to try and figure it out and find a solution that works for everyone, that doesn't put anyone under any undue danger or stress or anything like that. So keep your eyes peeled, I guess, for updates on that. And speaking of Supergiant, the Pyre documentary is already like halfway done. I have the basic build of it complete. Frank has recorded a shed load of gameplay. It's like mostly there, so that'll come out as well in the next, I suspect, the next few weeks, next month, depending on how everything else shakes out. And that's it, basically. It's weird. I don't know how to act on this. I'd love to be jovial and cheery. I will be in all our videos, but this one feels a little bit like it's kind of like halfway between a normal patron update video and like a fucking presidential address in a movie where what's happening right now is happening, because it almost does feel like we're in a movie, right? It's strange. I have these fleeting moments when I'm playing games or watching a movie with my wife or watching a YouTube video in bed where I forget, and then I get up and look outside the window and I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking mental. This is really, really strange. And it reminds me of a little bit like when we had the foot and mouth outbreak in Ireland, which is silly because that wasn't something really that was affecting people, except for my friends who were farmers who lost their herds and stuff. But the one thing I remember from that was that it seemed like this big scary thing, but then everyone kind of just pulled together, like that, you know, that the English sort of keep calm and carry on mentality. It really does happen, and I know it seems a little bit scary at the moment, and people are like panic buying and all that stuff, and I think it's very scary for people who have compromised immune systems, and also the elderly. Of course, we all have people we're worried about, and I'm sure a lot of you are worrying about yourselves as well, but you know, standing on the precipice of something like this, your mind can kind of go in lots of different ways. I'm not saying it's not serious. It definitely seems incredibly serious. We've never faced anything like this before, but I don't know. I'm optimistic about the will of people, and the spirit that a society can sort of imbue in its citizens, and I think we're going to be all right. And in the spirit of keep calm and carry on, we're going to keep editing and keep making cool documentaries about games. And we have loads of stuff to edit here. That's always been our problem. Noclip's Achilles heel, maybe my Achilles heel as a producer, was that I always had way too much stuff to edit. Turns out maybe that won't be a problem again in a few months' time. I guess we'll see. Anyway, that's kind of my lot for today. That's all the updates. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're doing all right. We're going to try and keep making videos to take your mind off things, or let you calm down a little bit while this is all going on. And yeah, in the meantime, just stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be about Doom Eternal, I think. I didn't touch my face the whole time. Ah!